taxpayers are going to fund the niche living payouts.
They are doing that. Fucking hell.
The fund has run out, so taxpayer money, rather than going after the guy who made the money for the whole thing, who still has the money for the whole thing, or frozen assets, all the rest of the stuff, taxpayers are going to pay out bad financial purchases of other people.
So just explain to anyone that's just tuning in quickly this sort of process here. And shout out to the people on X, by the way, and Twitch. Thank you, everybody.
Yeah, this is a very local issue for us here, but we have like a builder called Niche Living who basically took on too many jobs, didn't have the money to actually finish the jobs, left people who've paid almost like the full price for their houses with a slab of concrete and nothing else for 18 months, was it? More than that.
More than that. It's
people
like 2-3
paying a
years.
mortgage and rent for a place to live at the same time, basically financially being put under stress. Basically went insolvent, right? That's basically what happened to them. Oh, what's the text on yours, by the way? You got red text on yours.
Oh, whoops. Did someone fucking subscribe there? Whoopsies.
Put that in the front.
I don't even know who that was. Sorry, whoever that was, thank you. If you
I
subbed
appreciate that, guys. Sorry about that. We normally will give you a shout out, but we just let them slip.
Yeah, I actually need to. Thanks for reminding me. I need to turn off the alerts.
But anyway, I was going to say,
carry on. Yeah.
So basically, people got left with a slab of concrete and nothing else, whilst they're paying for their mortgage, they're paying for rent still for a place to live.
Yeah.
So the company went insolvent, basically. Basically, we can't finish your buildings. We don't have the money to do it. They basically declared bankruptcy. I think they filed for bankruptcy. I think it was
Yeah. So essentially, Niche Living was they weren't going to get put back up for their builder's rego, and if that didn't happen, then the people could access their home indemnity insurance. It was up to $200,000 to finish their builds. So they went to the state administrative tribunal, and essentially SAT said that we are going to renew his builder's license. So that meant that people couldn't get their HII, and then they found him essentially building his own multi-million dollar house for his missus, right? His wife. And then people were like, mate, you've got like all these slabs put down. You haven't done any work for 2 or 3 years on our properties. And now you're working on your missus' house. So anyways,
and the trick is, as soon as you put a slab down, you have like, it's a trick, isn't it? Once they put the slab down, technically they've started building, so you can't actually try to get your money back.
That's
you
right.
can't claim that you don't have the house or anything like that. You have to start paying your mortgage, basically, that you've got on the thing.
Yep.
So that's just insane. But basically what's recently happened is that, so they've took away his license, so people could apply for this insurance, but then the insurance company is getting bailed out by the taxpayer because they can't afford to pay everyone out.
Yep.
So people like me, Louis, anyone else who works in WA, who pays taxes in Australia, you are funding this whole process now.
Yeah, so this guy's, not to mention, the niche living guy is a multi-millionaire.
Yeah. But
he's a multi-millionaire, and when they went to SAT, and it went to the court case, they decided not to go after him specifically for money to fix this issue. They decided to go through not letting him build houses for 10 years, and he can't make another building company,
he can't
right?
Phoenix, basically.
Yeah, so that allowed people to get their home indemnity insurance.
Yeah.
But now, because the funding that you're saying has run out, I don't understand how that works, because I thought the home indemnity insurance comes from the the insurance companies.
Yeah, but the insurance companies basically gone to the government and said, hey, we can't afford to pay out all of this. We're out of money now.
That's
so
what
they
said.
Yeah, so the government's stepping in now. But basically, the worst thing about this, and I say it all the goddamn time, taxation is fucking theft. It is theft. In what world am I now paying off these people's houses? Yeah. And I feel bad for the people who got stitched up 100%. By this guy. But in what world do my tax dollars now go to funding this whole operation? I don't have a single... I don't have a dog in this race. Why are we paying for it?
Well, I think the greater issue here is, why did they not go after him specifically to recoup this money? Because then it becomes a taxpayer bailout, exactly like what happened when Wall Street completely crashed the market. The American government had to bail out Wall Street.
Bail out the banks.
Yeah.
Yeah. Look, it's a great point, but they'll say that the reason they did it that way was, rather than having it lost up in the legal system trying to get the money back, they were trying to help out the people who are in a crisis, not able to afford the mortgage and rent at the same time. So by doing it the way they've done it, they get the money to the people quicker. True. But now it's taxpayer money. And I think that's the worst thing about it. Why is the system built this way? That the money that gets siphoned off us, we have no control of where it goes afterwards. We have zero control of where this money goes. I hate it so much because it's like the idea that they can spend my money better than I can really pisses me off.
Well, yeah, it's this weird double-edged sword because it's like if you're giving insurance, and what is the home indemnity insurance good for then if it can't cover everything? I don't know. I don't understand the full logistics of it.
I don't think it's ever supposed to be activated in this way, where you've got this many people needing it exactly at the same time.
Activating it all at the same time.
Yeah. You're supposed to have other pieces in place not to let this happen, basically. And that's the real crime of it. Like, there was no protection in place. And I don't want to blame the people who got duped, but at the same time,
it's the system that's built this way,
Yeah.
because what happens in WA is that the builders have a huge power, it's not an imbalance, but kind of like the power balance is fully geared towards builders. Whatever the builders want, the builders get.
Yeah.
So any sort of regulations or, laws to be put in place that would restrict or reduce the builder's ability to do whatever the fuck they want is never going to come through. One, because the builders host all these little parties that all the politicians go to, and they're all fucking seen going there and having a good time and drinking champagne.
Wouldn't be surprised if there's some video footage from some back rooms there as well. The same way we found Diddy and Epstein and all the rest of that.
There's been so many scenarios where big builders have invited politicians to go to these little parties, and they get whatever they want, and all that does is hurt the industry for the builders that do the right thing, but it also makes it so risky for anyone to want to build a fucking house because it's completely geared against you. The builder can do whatever they want. You've just seen it right here, right now.
And that's the problem with Landcorp from Tim. Yeah, that's a whole one to get into on itself. The amount of corruption that was happening there
with Landcorp. And welcome, Tim, brother. How you doing, man? Good to see you.
Tune in again, mate. But that's the thing with a lot of the bureaucracy that we have. It's like they will only ever encroach with their laws on you because you can't defend yourself, right? You're not the donator. You just vote for them. Your vote's pointless. If they buy out both sides of the parties, what the hell does your vote matter to them?
Yeah.
So that's the problem with all these laws they put in place. The only law that will be passed is one that encroaches on your freedoms. It will never be one that stops you from getting ripped off. Very rarely will they actually pass a law that tackles the big issues, because why would they?
Yeah.